The Champions League is upon us. So it's only right we do a Champions League predictions video. The champions. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Yeah, Champions League's back. Now in this video, we will discuss the 4 Italian teams in the Champions League. My predictions. Who's getting eliminated? Who's making it into the playoffs? Who's the real big boy? The powerhouse making it in the top 8. Now, who's representing Italy in the Champions League this year? We've got Antonio Conte's Napoli. We've got Christian Chiavu's Inter. We've got Igor Tudor's Juventus. And we've got Ivan Juric's Atalanta. Now, let's start off with, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, engage in the comments. Now, let's start off with 36th place to 25th. And yes, it's standing out. Atalanta, let's just keep it short and sweet. I don't buy into their project. I don't buy into Juric. I don't buy into the players that they've brought in to replace some of the big players that they've sold. They haven't looked good in the Serie A so far. They've dropped points in both games. In terms of the games that they have in the Champions League, I truly believe if like a Gasperini was still around, if a Retegui was still around, if a Happy Lookman was still around, I'm looking at these games and thinking like, this is easy work for Atalanta. Like, these are opposition where Atalanta can easily finish in the playoffs, if not higher. But I've predicted them to lose against PSG, to draw against Club Brugge, to beat Slavia Prague, to lose to Roberto De Zerbi's Marseille, to lose to Frankfurt, to lose to Chelsea, to draw against Athletic Bilbao, and to beat USG, a team from the Belgian league. Now, let's just say, because of that, they don't accumulate enough points, and they finish in 25th. Now, some of the other notable teams that I have been eliminated, I've got PSV. Yeah, it's a bit unfair, bearing in mind they are the team that won the Dutch league, but I feel like they've been screwed big time. 5 out of their 8 games are against Napoli, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and Newcastle. I have them knocked out. Ajax, they've got a novice in charge, and when you have a novice in charge, expect the team to perform badly. Leverkusen, I feel like they've sold their entire team. So because of that, and they've sacked their coach 2 games into the season, that one is self-explanatory. So I've got Atalanta being knocked out. Now this is where it gets exciting. The playoffs from 9th to 24th place. Let's talk about the big boys of Serie A. Now, yeah, I've got 2 teams in my playoffs. I've got Napoli in 14th place, and I've got Inter in 11th. Yes, Christian Chiavu's Inter, the team that just lost to Udinese. Yeah, I have them in 11th. Now, who shall we start off with? Let's just start off with the reigning Scudetto winners, Napoli. Now, Napoli, what are my predictions for their games? I expect them to lose to Manchester City, to beat Sporting Lisbon, to draw away to PSV, to beat Frankfurt at home, to beat Karabag at home, to draw to Benfica, to draw to Copenhagen. Copenhagen away is one of the toughest grounds to go to. And also to draw to Chelsea. Because of that, they accumulate enough points to finish in the playoffs. Now, do I feel like they're underachieving by finishing in the playoffs? Yeah, like you have to bear in mind, I have all the other champions across the world in the top 8. I have the champions of the Premier League in the top 8. I have the champions of La Liga in the top 8. I have the champions of the Bundesliga in the top 8. I have the champions of the French League in the top 8. It's only the champions of the Serie A, which I don't have in the top 8. I feel like they've recruited very well. I feel like they don't have the most difficult of fixtures. And even the games that I have them dropping points in, I wouldn't be surprised if Napoli go on and win in those games. I just mainly look at Conte, man. Like, I'm being completely honest with you guys. That 90-minute performance that I watched of Napoli against Cagliari, the final game before the international break, I don't know what it is. Like, I truly don't know what it is. Like, as much as they've got so many talented players, I feel like in some games against low block oppositions, against teams that don't want to play football, they're missing that spark. And trust me, it sounds crazy when you bear in mind they have the Lobotkas, the McTominays, the Noah Langs, the Kevin De Bruynes, the Anguissas. I don't know. And at the same time, I'm not too convinced by their 2 strikers heading into the campaign up until Lukaku returns. Højlund, never been convinced. Lorenzo Luca, have not been impressed by him. And I feel like in the Champions League, like, it's cutthroat. The Champions League is cutthroat. You need to step up. You need to win those tough away games. You need to win at home to try and accumulate as many points as possible. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Champions League, You don't have 38 games like you have in the Serie A where you can afford to drop points knowing I've got 37 games to go. Champions League, every game you have to make it count. And I mainly look at them offensively and say, I don't know where the goals are coming from. I don't look at them in terms of chance creation. I just look at them and say, I don't know if Luka can be that consistent bagsman in the Champions League. I don't know if Højlund can be that consistent bagsman. And I feel like it's a bit unfair to put that responsibility on a midfielder like Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay's goals should be a bonus to Napoli. Like, Napoli should be looking at McTominay and saying, we've got ourselves a midfielder that does all of his midfield responsibilities whilst also scoring goals in the final third. But we need to have a striker that's delivering the goods week in, week out. McTominay's goals should be a bonus. The fact that in times, McTominay is the person that they're relying on to win them games, to score them goals, I feel like in the Champions League, like, that will be figured out and it will be far harder to create, far harder to score. When you've got nines that aren't the most prolific. Luka, Højlund, they're not prolific, they're not clinical, they're not the most consistent in their performances, they're not the most impactful. I'm surprised, like, to be completely honest with you guys. Like, I'm very surprised in terms of the profiles that they've gone out and signed in attack to replace somebody like Lukaku who was injured. But I still feel like there's enough quality for them to finish in the playoffs. Next up, we have Inter. I have Inter in 11th place. Yeah, that might come as a surprise. Like, how could you have Inter ahead of Antonio Conte's Napoli? As well as this may sound, I still look at Inter and see a very good amount of experience. I still look at Inter and see world-class players in some departments. And I just feel like in the Champions League, world-class players stand up the most. Like, I still look at Inter, and as much as I've broken down Kivu's system and I've praised him when he beat Torino and slandered him when he lost against Udinese, I feel like, of course, his system this year relies a lot on high energy, high pressing. The problem is, you can't really do that with a team that's the oldest in Serie A, if not the oldest in Europe. But I still look at the team and say, regardless of the fact that your systems might expose you in some games, regardless of the fact that you've got a novice leading you in somebody like Kivu, I still look at them and say, you've got some great players. Like, I can never ever deny that. You've got some great players in some great zones that could genuinely punish opposition, that can win you games within a matter of a click. The Bastonis, the Barellas, the Martinez, the Marcus Thurams. Like, I still look at these players and say, you guys can win games. Also, I feel like they've got a decent draw. Like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I think their first 4 games, they will go 12 out of 12. If they don't, I think Kivu's sacked. They've got Ajax. Yes, it's away from home, the Amsterdam Arena. Ajax, from bottling the league last season to getting rid of their manager, to them bringing in Heitinga. If you think Kivu is a novice, then this dude is senior novice. This dude has no experience managing a club the size of Ajax, let alone taking them into the Champions League. I think his managerial record is like 5 games. Heitinga, like, I don't really do Dutch league football, but Heitinga, I'm expecting him to have a catastrophic season at Ajax. No experience, their recruitment hasn't been great. Like, I don't think Ajax are tough opposition for a team like Inter, regardless of how Kivu sets them up. I expect them to go to Amsterdam and win. I expect them to go to Slavia Prague and win. I expect them to beat USG. I expect them to beat Kairat. Then it's when it gets tough. I feel like their draw is split 50-50. 50% in their favour, 50% where it's tough and it's challenging. And it's where Kivu has to step up and earn his bread and butter and show the world, I'm ready to manage this team. Just because you're coming up against Liverpool doesn't mean you just sit down and accept your fate and take 50 slaps to the face. No, you need to show you belong here. You need to show you can go toe-to-toe with these teams. The problem is, I don't have that faith in Kivu, and I don't look at him and say, you've got the tactical nous, like, you've got the credentials to go to Anfield and get a job over the line, or to go to the Emirates and get a job over the line. After their first 4 games, I expect them to lose to Atletico Madrid. I expect them to lose to Arne Slot's Liverpool. I expect them to draw against Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. And I also expect them to draw on the final game to Borussia Dortmund away in Germany. But having said all of that, they will still accumulate enough points to finish 11th, to finish in the playoffs. And it's mainly because their first 4 games are so easy. Yes, don't get me wrong. I don't want to disrespect any one of those teams. Going away from home to one of those teams, hostile atmosphere, hostile crowd, tough opposition. These players will give 120%, but I still look at it and say, the Bastonis, the Thurams, the Martinezes, the Barellas, the Bonnies, the Sucics, like, all of these players, on top of Akanji, somebody that's won the tournament experience, like, I still look at it and say, you can go away from home and find a way to grind out the results. You can. Like, you don't reach 2 Champions League finals in 3 years if you can't go away from home to Belgium and get a job over the line. Yeah. We're all on the same page. The last team left is the Bianconeri, Juventus. Now, you don't have them knocked out. No, I don't. You don't have them part of the playoffs. No, I don't. Where do you have Juventus? I have Juventus in 5th. Trust me, looking back at this right now, mamma mia, it looks shocking because I have Juventus higher than the current Champions League winners in PSG. I have them higher than Real Madrid. I have them higher than Arsenal. I'm not saying they're better than them, but I'm just saying they've got a far nicer run. Like, Juventus have got an amazing Champions League draw. An amazing Champions League draw. Out of all the Italian teams, they've got the best draw. Like, besides the Real Madrid game, I look at it and think, Juve, you could win every single game. You could genuinely win every single game. Now, let me explain. These are my predictions for them. Dortmund, been there, done it before, played them in pre-season. W, 3 points. I expect Juventus to win. Villarreal, just to touch on them briefly, I've been seeing a few videos, a few tweets left, right and centre about Villarreal when it's going to be a very difficult place to go to and this and that. I agree with that. Very difficult place. If anything, one of the nicest stadiums probably on planet Earth. Difficult place to go to. Very hostile atmosphere. But let's not brush under the carpet the players that they've sold this summer. They've gone and sold every single talented player in their squad. From Yeremy Pino on the final day of the season for 50 million to Crystal Palace. From Barry for 35 million to Everton. And then the icing on the cake, Baena, who was arguably one of the best players in Spanish football in La Liga last season. They sold him to Atletico Madrid. Go look at their recruitment. Besides the Georgian dude from Lyon, who I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm not looking at this Villarreal team and thinking, Nicola Pepe in 2025. Allow it. Come on, guys. Difficult ground, hostile atmosphere, tough team, but I still look at Juventus system for system, pound for pound, player for player, squad for squad to go and win that game. I expect Juventus to go to Spain and win that game. I have them beating Villarreal. Then you've got Real Madrid. Real Madrid, I watch a lot of Real Madrid. I watch a lot of La Liga. When it comes to Real Madrid, I feel like this season is their transitional year. Chopping and changing in the manager, chopping and changing in the players, chopping and changing in the systems. I feel like it might take Alonso 12 to 18 months to fully implement his philosophy. Because of that, I expect Real Madrid to be inconsistent. But having said that, the second youngest team in the Serie A to go to the Santiago Bernabeu against a team where, yes, it's a transitional year. Yes, it's a new coach, new system, new ideology, new principles. I still look at Real Madrid and say, there's just too much firepower. Like, I'm sorry. Regardless of the system, regardless of the tactics, you've got Kylian Mbappe, you've got Vini Jr., you've got Rodrigo, you've got Arda Güler, you've got Tchouameni, you've got Valverde. They've got too many match winners. And the fact that they've always been there and they've always delivered the goods and they've done it before, I feel like it will be a good test. It will be a very good game. But I have Real Madrid beating Juventus. After that, they go to Sporting Lisbon. The less that's said is better. Gyökeres, who contributed to 70% of their goals, has gone. The replacement is Konrad Harder. Juventus will beat Sporting Lisbon. After that, they've got Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, I feel like, is everybody's dark horse team. Oh, very tough ground to go to. 3G pitch, hostile atmosphere, the weather conditions. I completely agree with all of those. But in what world, in 2025, am I going to sit down and say Juventus should be scared of Bodo Glimt? And I've had enough of people using the Lazio example. Brother, Juventus, Bodo Glimt. Whether it's now, in 20 years' time, in 50 years' time, there should only ever be one winner of that. And when people always mention the Lazio example, let's not forget, Lazio ragdolled them, yeah? Ragdolled them in the first leg. We're 3-1 up. It could have easily been 4-5-6. In the second leg, they shat the bed. It went to penalties, they lost. Bodo Glimt, yes, their story and everything is fascinating, but let's not sit down and make it seem like they're this amazing underdog, this amazing dark horse in Europe. Tough ground, tough pitch to play against, but once again, pound for pound, system for system, player for player, X factor for X factor, I expect Juventus to go there and get the job done over the line. That's my expectation of Juventus. After that, Paphos, I think I've predicted Juventus to win 5-0 against them. Then Benfica, it seems like they play Benfica every single year, but once again, like, I expect Juventus to win this game. I expect Juventus' attack this year. Like, by the way, as much as I spent all summer saying, where are the defenders? Juventus have got an amazing attack. Juventus have got an amazing attack. Juventus should be going into these Champions League games and thinking, no problem. If we concede 2, we've got the firepower to score 3. If we concede 3, we've got the firepower to score 4. Juventus have got an amazing attack, and that attack is what's required to win them games. Benfica will be tough opposition, but once again, I still look at Juventus in attack. I think Kenan, Vlahovic, David, Openda, Zegrova, Locatelli, Kopminers, Thuram, Cambiaso. That's enough quality. That's enough quality to beat a Benfica. I have them beating Benfica. Final game, away to Monaco. Monaco, I actually like their squad. I like their squad. I like their players. I like some of the recruitment that they've done in the summer. I think that will be besides Real Madrid, that will be their toughest of games. Away to Monaco. Because of that, I have them drawing. That means they accumulate enough points to finish 5th. Now, do I think this will happen? No, because it's very optimistic thinking, but I'll be honest, I don't look at any of those teams and think Juventus should be scared. I don't. I truly don't. Like, if Juventus lose any of these games, it will either be the players shit in the bed or Tudor getting his tactics wrong. I don't look at Dortmund. I don't look at Villarreal. I don't look at Sporting. I don't look at Benfica. I don't look at Paphos. I don't look at Monaco and think, you guys have got better coaches, better players, better systems than Juve. And because of that, Juve should just go and be the powerhouse team and just dominate them and get the 3 points. These are my Champions League predictions. Trust me, the Juve one is very optimistic. You can't tell me you look at those teams and you're fazed by them, let alone you're scared by them. Juventus have got an amazing draw. They've got an amazing draw. These are my Champions League predictions. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, engage in the comments, and I will catch you guys on another one.